When your heart still hopes for someone your mind has already let go of, you find yourself living in two different worlds at the same time. One world is calm, logical, grounded, the part of you that finally understands why the connection had to end, why the story couldn't continue, why holding on any longer would only lead to more pain. The other world is emotional, raw, stubbornly alive, a part of you that still waits for a message, still imagines a reunion, still feels a pull whenever their name crosses your thoughts. This tension sits inside your chest like two voices speaking at once, neither willing to quiet, each one convinced it knows the truth. So breathe with me now, slowly, gently. Let your inhale give your heart space to exist without judgment, and let your exhale release the pressure of trying to choose between what you feel and what you know. The truth is that both are real. The truth is that both are valid. And the truth is that healing happens in the space where these two worlds slowly learn to meet. When your mind lets go first, it is a sign of growth. Your mind sees patterns, consequences, emotional realities. Your mind recognizes when a connection is no longer reciprocal, no longer safe, no longer aligned with the person you are becoming. It releases the story piece by piece, not because the feelings vanish, but because awareness becomes stronger than desire. But the heart, your heart, does not work that way. The heart does not measure compatibility through logic. The heart bonds through experience, emotion, memory, resonance. The heart remembers moments of softness even when the story has turned painful. The heart holds on to hope because hope is easier than emptiness. And so you end up here in this middle place where letting go has already happened in the mind but not yet in the body. Breathe again. Feel how the inhale lifts the weight slightly, even if only for a moment. Your heart is not betraying you by hoping. It is simply moving slower than your mind. Emotional timelines do not sync perfectly. Sometimes your mind arrives at clarity months before your heart catches up. Sometimes your body releases attachment long after the relationship ends. That does not mean you're stuck. It means you're healing. You may find yourself wondering why your heart still looks for signs, still imagines what-ifs, still reacts to memories that rise at the worst times. Late at night, when silence amplifies everything you thought you had resolved. You may feel frustrated, ashamed, confused by the gap between what you know and what you feel. But breathe. Nothing is wrong with you. Your heart is hopeful because hope was the glue that kept the relationship alive. You held on through disappointments. You held on through confusion. You held on even when your needs went unmet. Hope was your survival mechanism. And survival mechanisms don't disappear in an instant. Tonight, let your heart breathe without demanding that it match your mind's pace. Let it grieve the possibility it invested in. Let it release the future it imagined. Let it soften around the truth that the person you hoped for is not the person who would have stayed. Hope is not proof that the relationship was right. Hope is proof that you loved honestly. And loving honestly is not a flaw, it is a strength. Take another breath, deeper this time. Your exhale doesn't need to erase the longing. It only needs to remind you that longing is not a command. Missing is not a message. Hoping is not a sign. These feelings are not telling you to go back. They are telling you what still needs to be healed inside you. The heart hopes because it remembers the good. The mind releases because it remembers the truth. Somewhere between the two, there is a path out of the pain. When you feel the pull toward them, notice it without responding. When your heart imagines their return, let the image pass through you like weather. When memories rise, let them rise without assigning meaning to the ache. The ache is part of the exit. Let your breath guide you through the emotional residue that keeps you tied to someone your mind has already walked away from. The version of you who stayed is learning to step aside. The version of you who knows better is learning to step forward. This is the in-between, the bridge, the transition between attachment and freedom. It is uncomfortable, but it is temporary. There will come a moment, quiet, subtle, almost unnoticeable, when your heart finally stops waiting for what your mind already understands will never return. That moment will not feel dramatic. It will feel peaceful. And peace is the proof that your heart has caught up. But tonight, you are allowed to feel the contradiction. You are allowed to live in the space where your heart still hopes and your mind already knows. Healing is not a straight line. It is a slow alignment, and you are aligning breath by breath, truth by truth, night by night. You do not have to rush this process. You only have to stay present through it, one breath at a time. When your heart still hopes for someone your mind has already let go of, every part of you feels divided. You wake up with clarity and fall asleep with longing. You tell yourself you've moved on, yet a single memory can pull you backward so quickly that you wonder if any healing has happened at all. This contradiction sits inside the body like a knot made of past and present, tightening whenever you try to force yourself to feel something different from what you actually feel. So breathe slowly now, and let your breath move around that knot without trying to undo it. The heart cannot be rushed, cannot be pushed, cannot be convinced. It learns through time, through experience, through quiet moments like this where you face the truth without resisting it. Your heart still hopes because hope was the last thing it held onto when the relationship began to fade. It was the one thread you were afraid to let go of, the one belief that made the hurt tolerable, the one emotional anchor that kept you from collapsing. When everything around you was unclear, hope gave you something to reach toward. That hope didn't disappear just because your mind reached clarity. A part of you still believes something could change, even if you know logically that holding on would only reopen the wound. That is not foolishness. It is emotional gravity. The heart gravitates toward what once felt meaningful, even when the mind knows it is no longer safe. Take another breath. Inhale gently. Exhale without forcing anything away. Your heart is not wrong for hoping. It is simply finishing the story at its own pace. Sometimes the heart is slow to understand endings. It wants to rewrite them. It wants to reinterpret them. It wants to fix what could not be fixed. But healing requires allowing the ending to stand. The hope you feel is not for the person. They are no longer aligned with your path. The hope is for the feeling you once had. The feeling of closeness, connection, possibility. You are not trying to go back to them. You are trying to go back to who you were when love felt possible. Let that realization soften the part of you that keeps blaming yourself for not being over it. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are not weak. You are grieving the future you imagined, the version of the relationship that never had the chance to exist. When the heart is attached to possibility, it holds onto the story long after the other person has left it. This is why you still feel pulled toward them even though your mind has already closed the door. The heart is grieving not the ending, but the unfinishedness, the unanswered questions, the emotional momentum that had nowhere to go. Take another breath deeper now. Your healing is not measured by how quickly you forget them. Your healing is measured by how gently you treat yourself while your heart catches up to your mind. One day, the hope will fade, not into bitterness, not into disappointment, but into clarity. Clarity that feels grounded instead of forced. Clarity that feels peaceful instead of sharp. You will wake up and realize the emotional pull has loosened. You will hear their name and feel nothing rise in your chest. You will remember the story without wanting to reopen it. That moment is coming, slowly, quietly, inevitably. For now, you are allowed to be in transition. You are allowed to feel two things at the same time. You are allowed to miss them and still know that letting go was right. You are allowed to hope and still choose yourself. Healing is not the absence of longing. Healing is the ability to feel the longing and not follow it. And you, right now, are doing exactly that. Breath by breath, step by step, night after night. You are not failing. You are not broken. You are not going backward. You are simply becoming the version of yourself that no longer needs someone your heart once believed it couldn't live without. And that becoming takes time. Let it.